Coming up next on Trojan News, GHS crowns its homecoming queen.
And the football team wins its first game of the season. These stories and more coming up next on Trojan News.
And now, from Studio 100 at Greenville High School, this is Trojan News.
Hello and welcome to Trojan News for Friday, October 21st. I'm Leah Betts.
And I'm Hunter Grant.
Last month, members of the choir traveled to the Erie Playhouse to take in a performance of The Sound of Music. The group enjoyed the performance featuring the musical's many classic songs, including My Favorite Things, Do Re Mi, and the title song, The Sound of Music.
Students from Mercer, Crawford, Erie, Lawrence counties met Thursday, October 13th at Teal College when they practiced some of the lessons they have learned through their government, social studies, and civics classes as part of Senator for a Day, hosted by State Senator Michelle Brooks. Finn Butcher served as a senator pro tempore. The Senate, Josie Lewis, Raina Robinson, and Zach Morgan all prepared bills that ultimately passed.
There will be a combined band and choir Halloween concert next Wednesday, October 26th at 7 p.m. in the JHS auditorium. Tickets are available at the door and will be $5 for adults and $2 for seniors and students. Ticket totals for large families and groups will be capped at $15.
Students and teachers welcomed back a familiar face to GHS this year. Corporal Wes Carson is once again patrolling the halls and maintaining order at the high school as part of a newly formed Greenville High School Police Department. Xander Ball has more.
With the school year starting again, there are some familiar faces patrolling the hallways. Officer Carson is back for good, and he is now head of the new police department here in the school district. Dr. Keeling explained the reason why the police force was created.
Primary reason was, in order to ensure the security and safety of our students and staff, we wanted to be able to have a police officer designated specifically to GHS. By having our own department, that allows us to have the officer here at all times.
When asked, students around GHS confirmed that they feel safer with Officer Carson and the Greenville High School Police Department in place.
Yes, I do feel safe because they're here to protect us if anything were to happen out of nowhere.
I do feel safer with an officer on duty at all times because it just makes the environment feel more safe so that there's not going to be any danger.
Corporal Carson explained the most difficult part of his job on a daily basis.
Well, I think the most difficult part of my job is the same now as it was when I was working on the street, and that is the constant pressure and concern that I may have to use deadly force against another human being. I've never had to. I hope to never have to in my career because I don't really relish the thought of taking a human life.
Mr. Karpinski explains that he doesn't really have any changes to his job due to the police department.
I can't say there's anything that I don't do because I work hand in hand with Officer Carson, and we're just so lucky and fortunate to have him here. But just the convenience of him being here, I now don't have to report it down in the Greenville Police Station. I just go right next door, so that's a huge plus, huge plus.
To wrap things up, Corporal Carson is a big part of GHS and the police department here, and the students feel safer knowing that he and the police department are in place. That's all for now. For Trojan News, I'm Xander Ball reporting.
The Media Club is selling Halloween-themed Greenville Trojan t-shirts designed by Brooke Williams. The cost is $10 and orders can be placed in Mr. Gailey's room. The shirts will be delivered in time for you to wear to school on Halloween.
Romeo, Juliet, Boo Radley, all classic characters in literature that might come to a GHS student's mind when they hear another name is mentioned, Mrs. Hubbard. Mrs. Hubbard has been teaching 9th grade English along with several other courses at GHS for the past 17 years. We get to know her a little bit better in this week's Spotlight.
Hi, I'm Lily Thomas, and for this week's Spotlight, I'm here with Mrs. Hubbard to ask her a few questions. Okay, our first question is, how many years have you been teaching?
In total, I've been teaching 18 years, most of them here at Greenville. Started my first 2 years of my career, though, at Canada Catholic before I came here.
Okay. Do you have any pets?
I do. I have one very old black 17-year-old cat. We had a couple other animals over the year, and unfortunately this past summer have lost my dog and our cat, and now we just have him.
Okay, we know that reading is one of your favorite hobbies, but do you have a top 3 books?
This is really hard for me to choose. So I decided to pick one from kind of each generation of my life. So I went with Curious George for when I was little. I loved Curious George. I also would go with a book that I was really obsessed with in junior high, which was a historical fiction called Listen for Rachel. And then the other one I was always obsessed with as a teen, a young adult, older years would have been Pride and Prejudice. I still read that every couple of years.
Okay. Do you have any favorite artists or songs or genres of music?
I listen to almost everything. I really do. I mean, you'll find me listening to the Beatles one moment, or to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, to Lizzo, to Justin Timberlake. So I will listen to almost everything. I like alternative and rock and hip hop and R&B, kind of it all. But when I'm really in a mood, I do like to listen to a lot of pop.
Yeah. Okay, and can you tell us about your family?
Well, primarily in my household, it's just our very aged cat and my husband and I. And then for my extended family, I have my parents, I have 2 younger sisters, and then between them, I have 2 nieces and 2 nephews.
Awesome. Okay, for Trojan News, I'm Lily Thomas reporting.
There are many confusing forms that need to be completed as seniors navigate through the college admissions process. GHS will help you get started with the annual Fill Out the FAFSA night on Wednesday, November 2nd from 6 to 7:30 in the lecture hall. Senior parents and students are encouraged to attend.
If you missed picture day, or perhaps your pictures did not come out the way that you had hoped, you can turn that awkward smile, head tilt, or bad hair day around on picture retake day, Friday, November 4th.
Could a cure for some cancers be close? Kaden Wynn has the details in this week's World Watch.
On October 17, 2022, the World Health Organization launched its global strategy for food safety. This strategy will help mitigate foodborne illnesses by strengthening food safety systems and promoting global cooperation. Their goal is to decrease the amount of foodborne illnesses by 40% and to have 100% coordination mechanisms manage these outbreaks of illnesses to enhance laboratory capacity to surveillance for foodborne illnesses. Packers fans take offense to Jets players Alan Lazard wearing their signature cheesehead hat. Lazard said that it wasn't supposed to be disrespectful and it was just supposed to be a little competitive spirit. Fishermen facing felony charges because of a cheating in a fishing scandal by shoving lead weights inside a walleye to make it seem heavier. They have been accused of cheating and attempted grand theft, possessing criminal tools, and misdemeanor of charges of unlawfully owning wild animals. The husband and wife duo who founded BioNTech, which helped create one of the most effective vaccines for COVID, is using their mRNA technology to possibly create a future cancer vaccine. mRNA technology will help body distinguish cancer cells from healthy cells, just like it did with COVID. It is possible that mRNA tech, there will be a cure for cancer in 2030 and help relieve many families affected by cancer. With this week's news stories, I'm Kaden Wynn.
The Trojans faced a tough test against the Hornets last week, and the volleyball team battled it out against the Raiders. Dakota Smith is standing by in the Sports Center with the latest. Dakota?
Thank you, Leah. Coming off the convincing homecoming week victory, the Trojans looked to carry their momentum into their matchup against Hickory last week. The Trojans got off to a rough start, fumbling a snap on the second play of the game, providing Hickory with a great field position for their first score of the game. It would be an uphill battle from that point on. A Jace Herrick interception followed by a Malachi Hyde touchdown would provide a spark, but the Trojans would ultimately lose the game 45-12. The Trojans return home for the senior night against the Sharon Tigers on October 21st. The volleyball team visited the Reynolds Raiders on Monday, October 17th. The match was full of back-and-forth sets and long rallies. The Raiders won the first 2 sets, 25-23 and 25-21, but the Trojans fought back to take the next 2, 25-19 and 25-20. Forcing a 5th and deciding set, both teams traded streaks and fought back and forth to run the score past 15. The Raiders took the final lead of the night and won the 5th set, 18-16. Kyria Varion had the hot hand, recording 12 kills, while Kayani Spurlock served at 3 aces after beating the Mercer the following night. The Trojans now wait for details on a postseason matchup. That's all from the Sports Center. Let's send it back to Leanne Hunter in the studio.
That's all for this week's episode of Trojan News.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for the latest in school news and local weather, as well as short creative videos for Trojan News. I'm Hunter Grant.
And I'm Leah Betts.
Have a great day.